She launched her campaign last fall with a focus on reforms to housing, affordability, policing, public safety, all key issues in Los Angeles. And Reverend Rae Huang joins me now at the desk for a conversation about some of those issues and more. Reverend, great to have you and welcome to Inside the Issues.
Thank you so much for having me.
And congratulations on your run. How's it been going so far?
It's been absolutely amazing. It's been a beautiful journey of connecting with voters across Los Angeles, getting to know every single corner of LA, and really hearing the challenges that we're facing and what needs to be changed.
You know, I know that your view on a lot of those challenges comes down to, I mean, it's a sophisticated view with lots of issues in mind, but housing is something you've worked on a lot. You've organized a lot on this as a reverend, morality important. And I'm sure the viewers think housing, morality, this is really good. You're also coming to this race as someone who has organized outside of City Hall. And in this moment, people think we need someone who's got a lot of experience understanding how to move things through city government. What do you say to those folks?
Yeah, that's exactly right, is that we need to have real change in leadership of somebody who actually knows how to bring people together, different offices, departments, and even different ideas. I've been a coalition builder over the last decade in my work, especially here in Los Angeles, building up the Healthy LA Coalition to pass pandemic-related protections, and then also now running as Deputy Director of Housing Now, which is a statewide housing justice coalition.
You would have to work with City Council, various other institutions and city government. To what degree do you feel confident in your understanding of these sort of sophisticated institutions and consensus building you need to accomplish there?
Yeah, I actually feel very confident about it. I've been working collaboratively with City Hall and with our different organizations on the ground for many years to be able to pass measures like Measure A, Measure ULA. We've been able to pass, for example, the Los Angeles RSO. These are things that we know how to do. The community knows what we want, and what we need to do now is actually have the political will in office to be able to make sure that they are followed through.
So you have a focus in housing. What do you think is the biggest issue with housing in the city right now? What would you do about it as mayor?
So part of my campaign is really lifting up the solution of social housing. Social housing is publicly or community-owned housing that is permanently off the speculative market and also resident managed. And what that allows us to do is stabilize the rental market and be able to allow tenants to be able to rent at affordable rates, and then also stabilize the rental market or the real estate market so that homeowners can also be able to buy their homes and not have to compete with the companies that can just buy up with full cash.
You know, we run these huge city budget deficits, and people hear that plan, they say, okay, this involves construction and other kinds of acquisition of properties. This sounds expensive. The timeline around this is fairly complicated. How do you get that done, especially in an environment where this may cost money to mom and pop landlords who then sell to corporate landlords, and then that creates more distortions in the rental market?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now what we need to be thinking about is the fact that it is so costly to do anything in this city, and so we need to put all of our resources and our time and energy into ensuring that we can build faster by streamlining and making it easier to build using a one-stop shop development option. We also need to be ensuring that as we're building, that we're putting all of our time into building permanent solutions. Right now, we're using low-income housing tax credits to be able to help developers build out our affordable housing. While that's been working, it's not quite enough. What we need to do is be able to put all of our funding sources into a permanent solution, and that's what social housing can provide.
So you've also called for free metro rides. How would you get that done as mayor?
Yeah, well, right now, our buses, the cost that it is taking to be able to have people ride the buses, the collection of fares, is actually about the same amount of money that we're using to collect fares right now. They cancel each other out. We have to remember that during the pandemic, our fares were actually free. We've done this before. So we know that we have a pathway to make it available and free. And if we can make it free, why not allow for the 7 out of 8 bus riders right now who rely on using the bus to get to and from places, to work, to school, to grocery stores, and make it cheaper for them by making it free so they can use that expense on other things.
So it sounds like a good idea, but a lot of this comes down to the feasibility of it for you as mayor, right? You would be the chair of the Metro board, but how many people would you be able to appoint to that board?
Yeah, so I can have 3 members appointed, and I would actually have a majority on that Metro board.
And then you'd have to have a fare structure that is approved by City Council. And again, you'd have to work with a lot of City Council members who would not necessarily want to work. So these ideas are defined, but then the issue becomes how do you implement them?
Absolutely. And here's the thing, if I am elected into office, it shows that the city of Los Angeles actually wants these things done. I've been very clear about the platform that I'm running on. And so if I'm elected, that means people do want, in fact, fast and free buses, and we can actually continue to advocate and work on that.
And Reverend, when you think about that, it's this idea now that you're polling at about 4% according to the Emerson poll, a little bit less than that according to the UCLA Luskin poll, but always enough to prevent Nithya Raman from taking over Spencer Pratt in the 2 and 3 race, which it looks like it'll be Mayor Bass moving on without a majority in June, and then who's going to be 2, who's going to be 3. You potentially play a spoiler. Your ideas are here. Some of these ideas Nithya Raman shares with you. Are you prepared to play spoiler in this race by staying in with a less likely path to being in that 2nd or 3rd slot?
So here's the thing. Right now, Los Angeles is looking for real change. The people that I am talking to on the ground who are supporting me are not looking for continued reform in a system that doesn't work. I'll tell you, just earlier today when I was at Kenneth Hahn.
So, but I just want to hear on this real quick. So you're committed to staying in this race?
I am committed to staying in.
You're not going to drop out?
I'm not planning on dropping out.
And
I'll
if
tell
you are the
why.
reason that Nithya Raman, for instance, isn't able to go on, and therefore these kinds of ideas that she may share with you as someone who has also had DSA affiliation, now that you get the endorsement, you're prepared to be preventing her from taking that on into the general?
Let me be very clear. There was somebody in Kenneth Hahn today, for example, to finish the story, who I bumped into, and he said to me, you know, I was planning on voting for Spencer Pratt, but now that I've met you, I am looking for an anti-establishment candidate. This is the kinds of conversations that I'm having on the ground. The people who are supporting me specifically because they see me as somebody who is not a typical politician, who is not trying to maintain the establishment. What they're looking for is real fundamental change, a systems change. And so that is exactly what we're running on.
You're running on that, and you're staying on that all the way through to the end of the race.
Exactly. And the thing is, we also know that polls have been inaccurate in the past. Our focus has been from the very beginning, not trying to reach typical voters. We're trying to expand the voter base here in Los Angeles to politically educate people, to give them a sense of hope and awareness that we could have something different in Los Angeles.
It's going to be very interesting to see the way it plays out. I know a lot of people are listening to your words tonight and getting a sense now of what it might mean for June and November. Reverend Rae Huang, thank you so much for coming and talking about these ideas, issues, and your commitment to stay into the race.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you.